Okay, so we're going to be doing this problem called twins, and we're given these three examples. So we can see here we have our function named twins. Our input is going to be a string in which for each letter of the string, we want to duplicate it. So if we have A, B, C, we want two A's followed by two B's, then two C's. So that's one example. The other example, if we just have a single character like A, we want to duplicate it being AA. And if we have no characters at all, then our output should be no characters. Cool. So the first thing that we can try to do to solve this problem is what would be the process in which you would try to do this by hand? Can someone give me some idea of how would they approach this by hand? If I give you this string A, B, and C, what would be the process you would take? Right, so I heard someone say they can kind of go through each character one by one. So first we can go through A, and then basically write down two of that letter. So we can go through A, write down AA, then we would go to B, write down BB, and then we would go to C and write down CC, right? And we reach the end of the string for this part, end of this string, then we have no more to write down, right? And we can apply the same for the other cases as well. Okay, so how do we generalize this approach? So we have some way of, okay, we want to go through every character. What is some structures in Python in this case that we can use? Right, so I heard someone say for loop, right? So what would we be for looping over? Right, so we would be for looping over each character in the string. So I'm going to write down our function first. So our input is going to be some input string. And then someone said, okay, we should for loop for CH in our input. Okay, so we have to have some for loop over each character. Now we can think about back to that example. If we were trying to do this by hand, right? We would start with A, and then we would write down two A's. So how do we convert that to code? Yeah, I think I heard someone say that we could kind of build up a string, right? Build up a string and add the character twice. So to do that, someone said we should start with an empty string. So we can store our output as an empty string. And then for each character in our input, we basically want to, what do we want to do here? Right, we can do output plus equals character plus character. And why do we have the character twice? Right, to get the doubling effect so that we can have A and then AA and then B, then BB. So we just have one character, we'll just reproduce the same exact string, but by adding two of these characters next to each other, we'll get the desired effect. And all right, so is that it? Are we missing anything? Yeah, sometimes it can be tricky, but we're missing the final return statement. So we just need to return output. And that's it. And then let's double check for the different cases. Specifically, like our edge case of like, if we pass in an empty string, do we return an empty string? So we pass an empty string, this for loop doesn't run and skips to return output, which output starts as empty string. So yeah, that works out. And we can also test the other cases as well. So let's test A. So for character and input, so CH will be A in the beginning. We'll add two A's next to each other, and then we'll return AA. So seems like it works out. So all right, great job, everyone.